On attend juste d'être en ligne. Voilà, bonjour à tout le monde. Bienvenue au nom du Genève-Servette Hockey Club pour cette conférence de presse qui réunira Luc Keinec au centre, Chris Maxorley et Mike Gillis. Cette conférence de presse aura lieu en français et en anglais. On n'aura pas de traduction, chacun parlera dans sa langue. Cette conférence de presse est également relayée en direct sur les réseaux sociaux. Donc on va essayer de faire attention de parler chaque fois dans les micros, également pour la partie questions-réponses qui aura lieu tout à l'heure. Et sans autre, je passe la parole à Luc Keinec.
Voilà, merci tout le monde de votre présence ici ce matin. Avec les remerciements aussi, j'aimerais remercier l'Hôtel Mandarin Oriental, qui est un de nos partenaires de très longue date, et M. Wagner ainsi que tout son staff pour la mise en place de cette salle. Merci à eux. À la fin de la saison dernière, je vous ai annoncé un certain nombre de nouveautés au niveau du conseil d'administration, avec l'arrivée de Mike et de Peter, et ensuite l'arrivée de Lauren. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes là pour mettre à jour la situation du club et de vous communiquer un certain nombre d'éléments qui vont vous montrer que le club continue à progresser. Le premier sujet que je voulais aborder aujourd'hui, c'est l'actionnariat. On a quelques questions qui ont été posées dernièrement. Je peux vous confirmer que je suis propriétaire du club et que Mike Gillis a une opportunité de me rejoindre dans le capital du club. Et c'est un processus qui suit son cours très, très proprement. Et je suis très, très content de continuer à donner cette opportunité à Mike. Deuxième niveau, au niveau du conseil d'administration, nous sommes en train de réorganiser à nouveau. Mike sera le délégué du conseil qui sera responsable pour la partie sportive et administrative du club. En ce qui me concerne, je reste président et je vais plutôt m'impliquer au niveau commercial, au niveau initiative communautaire, relations avec les partenaires et supporters. Donc je serai au soutien de l'équipe sportive et administrative dans mon rôle de président. Mais Mike sera vraiment la personne qui sera responsable pour les opérations. Après, nous avons Peter Gall, qui reste toujours dans son rôle de mener le projet de nouvelle patinoire, qui avance très bien. Nous avons Franz Solanski, qui est administrateur de longue date, qui est secrétaire du conseil d'administration, donc ça se maintient. Et aujourd'hui, nous annonçons l'arrivée d'un nouvel administrateur, qui est M. François Bélanger, un avocat de la place genevoise, qui est bien connu, bien intégré dans la communauté. Non seulement il exerce sa profession d'avocat, mais il est aussi très actif au niveau éducatif, social, caritatif et culturel. Il préside diverses fondations et associations et est membre aussi de divers comités. Donc on est très, très heureux de l'avoir aujourd'hui. C'est un premier pas pour nous d'intégrer dans le cercle intime du club au plus haut niveau à des Genevois. Et nous sommes dans un processus d'ajouter un 6e administrateur qui sera aussi issu de Genève, un Genevois. Et ça, c'est vraiment important pour nous. Sinon, je voulais juste remercier les supporters pour leur confiance et leur fidélité. C'était une saison difficile cette saison, mais je pense que c'est important que tous nos supporters réalisent que les objectifs du club restent les mêmes. Gagner ce premier titre pour Genève-Servette. Nous voulons que ce projet de nouvelle patinoire aboutisse avec succès. Nous voulons continuer à développer notre académie et nous voulons continuer d'avoir un rôle très important dans la vie de tous les jours de notre communauté genevoise et d'apporter une contribution vraiment positive. Nous voulons vraiment faire de ce club un club dont les Genevois et les supporters ressentent un profond attachement et qui vraiment fait partie de leur vie et dans lequel ils sont vraiment très fiers. Donc pour la suite de cette séance aujourd'hui, cette conférence, je vais passer la parole à Chris et après Mike Gillis vous donnera plus de détails aussi sur l'avenir opérationnel du club et sur certains autres éléments. Voilà, merci. Chris, pass it on to you.
The past 16 years, I've occupied both roles and duties as being the general manager and head coach of this hockey club. It has been an extreme honor to represent
Chris.
Geneva, and represent this club.
Use the mic, please.
It's been an extreme honor to represent this club in being so. This past year has been a year where we've added two very experienced at the very highest level with Mike Gillis and Lauren Henning, and it's been a year of it's been a very educational year for myself. Status quo in sports is death. In the past 10 years, we can be very proud of the fact that we've either achieved the finals or semifinals 5 out of the past 10 years. But let's be honest, that's just not good enough. If we want to be with the elite teams, we have to operate like an elite team. And this past week has been very difficult for myself, the coaches, because we know we're under analysis. That's something we really haven't had over the past 16 years. And it was very clear to us after speaking with Mike. Mike gave us the vision on how an elite general manager responds, how he does his work. And he also informed me how an elite coach does his work and his accessibility to players. And to be honest, this is a 7-day, 24-hour day that occupies, and it was very clear to me that it was just too much work for one person to continue to carry. I could have carried on, but we wouldn't. Status quo would have been once again maintained. Mike was very good about it. It wasn't criticism. It was just an eye-opening experience to see that if we want to remain this way, remain a top 6 team, but outside of the elite teams, that we can continue the way we're going to continue. And I'm very thankful that Mike brought it to my attention that this company, with the way it's moving, his objectives, and the objectives of the board, Hugh, that they want to become an elite team. And he allowed me the opportunity to say they got the resources and the direction to move forward, to hire a new coach. My true passion, to people who know me closely, is in team construction and architecture of teams. And I'm very thankful for the opportunity that they've allowed me now to pursue truly what I do truly love, and that is being a general manager. I work very, very closely with the coach. He's going to have 1,000% of my support. He's going to have a chance to come in and put his imprint on the team without any influence. And 100% of my attention is going to be focused towards the team, putting the best team on the ice, but also to do something that I haven't done in the past is have a chance to work closely with Patrick Emond, who's done a terrific job with the junior elites, Francois Bernheim, the Novus Elite, and Laurent Peschkranz with the Association Genève Future. This gives me a chance to truly do what a general manager does and get involved in all aspects of the business. So on behalf of myself, I'm retiring from coaching. It's been 28 years on the bench. I can honestly say it's a lot of pressure to bring to yourself on a day-by-day basis. It gives the players now a chance to have a new voice, a fresh voice. And I think this is a chance for me to do a better job for this club as a general manager and probably bring a coach in that might perhaps do a better job behind the bench than I did. So I'm very happy and very thankful to this everybody in this room and the people who've this past week and all the support they gave me to remain in Geneva. And I want to rest assure you, my job was never in jeopardy. It was never threatened. It was a very constructive discussion and one that I'm very thankful for Mike to have the honesty to sit and talk to me about it. This past year, I've had a chance to work with Lauren Henning, who's an absolute first-class individual. Lauren Henning is a person who brings his experience, brings information, but he does it in a very professional and a very genuine way. I will continue to work with Lauren Henning and Mike Gillis and with Louis Matt on the management role. And as I said, certainly support the coach because I know what it's like to not win hockey games. I know what it's like to be in Le Vernet and be losing by a number of goals. And I know what the pressure is. And I can certainly say that this is a person he deserves your embrace and he deserves our support. So thank you very much for these past 16 years and looking forward to hopefully another long-term future with this club. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Chris, Mike, it's your turn.
Thank you all for coming. First, I'd like to welcome Francois Belanger to our group. He's an incredibly thoughtful person and I think will be a great addition to our board and a great help in all of our endeavors moving forward. By way of overview, and I'm going to take my time because I don't want to miss anything or have any opportunity for misinterpretation. Our main objective remains the same. It's to win a title, have a championship team, and be able to compete for the championship every year. We know that we have all the ingredients here. We have a united team, a great group of players, absolutely fantastic group of players. We have a strong organization, and we have the motive to move ahead. The ice rink is going to add a tremendous landscape to the Geneva hockey scene. It's imperative that we do everything in our power to ensure that that project moves ahead and moves ahead thoughtfully and conscientiously and gives everything back to the community that it can possibly can. As outlined in our press release, we made a fair and objective analysis top to bottom. We decided we knew what we had to do. It's not a question of blaming anyone. It's a question of moving forward all together. That's what today is all about, to indicate to everybody that we are moving forward, we have a plan, and that we are all aligned. Now into some more details, which I think you guys are interested in. I know our fans are interested in, our sponsors. I'd like to thank Chris and Hugh, first of all. If it wasn't for these two guys working together for the last 10 years in particular, Chris for the last 16 years, Geneva hockey wouldn't be where it is today. There's no doubt about that. The future is fantastic. The academy is stacked with really good coaches and motivated parents and young players. So we have a unique opportunity to continue to grow Geneva hockey in a meaningful way. I was completely impressed with Pat, his handling of the junior elite squad, all the way down the line. It's a great organization, and it's one that the city should be proud of. The club has been criticized for a lack of transparency over time, and I'd like to take this opportunity to try and address some of those concerns as best I can. Clearly, we don't have the full day to do an analysis of every possible thing, but I want to touch on some of the bigger topics that have been somewhat misrepresented, and hopefully we can clear the air and make sure that everyone has a clear understanding of what the landscape is and where we intend to go. My motivation for being in Geneva. Peter Gall is a good friend of mine. He's my lawyer. He was involved in a situation here in Switzerland. He met Hugh Kennick. He felt that there was a great opportunity in Geneva to try and improve the organization. He asked me to join the board with him, Franz Solonsky and Hugh, which I agreed to do. We are unpaid board members. We don't receive a salary for being on the board. Our expenses are paid as part of our obligations to come attend board meetings and other functions on behalf of the club. My opportunity as a board member over time was that Hugh generously offered me an opportunity to invest in the team. I've taken my time to consider that investment. I fully intend to move ahead and invest in the club. I think it's a unique opportunity that can be built upon and create something that is really meaningful and long-lasting. Peter's role as a board member is be the board delegate for the arena project. He's been instrumental in lining up investors, which I'm going to speak about a little bit later. He's passionate, he's protective, and he's doing a superb job getting out in the business community, trying to generate the interest necessary to move ahead. Lauren Henning was brought in to provide a resource for Chris. Neither he nor I ever told Chris or anyone what to do, who to play, who to put on the power play, who to put on penalty killing, who to put in net. We firmly believe that's the coach's role and that's the coach's job. And I've talked to Chris about this in his more singular role as the manager of the club that the coach makes those decisions, and he has to be entitled to make those decisions. He's going to live and die by the result, and he has to be the person in control of that result. The total cost attributable to the club for Lorne Henning was approximately 130,000 Swiss francs. Clearly not what was reported. The cost for Peter and myself as board members combined approximately 120,000 Swiss francs in expenses over the past 14 months. Peter's costs will be absorbed by the development company. So the costs for Lorne Henning and myself to be part of the group were minimal. Clearly not what was represented. It's also been reported, and you're all sitting here in the palace, the Mandarin Palace, that our staying here is costing the club a fortune. The Torriani family have been not only sponsors, but one of the leading hockey families in Switzerland for years. They started a relationship over 25 years ago with the club. Multiple players have stayed here, some players during the whole season. They have created a great environment and have been financially very cost conscious with us. They're a great sponsor, they're a great host, and it's a relationship that we fully intend to continue. It is a responsible relationship that has gone on for a long time. The general manager, Mr. Wagner, has been incredibly generous in extending the sponsorship and extending the relationship, and I'd like to personally thank him for all of the things they do for us, including creating meeting space, you name it, receiving faxes, making copies for us, allowing us to basically have an office here, and there isn't enough space anywhere else, so they've been very, very generous. The financial situation of the club. Christoph has a slide that we're going to show you. You'll see from the slide, the club, like many clubs, sports clubs all over the world, operate on a break-even basis during the regular season. We're going to focus on three main areas: revenue during the regular season, hockey operations cost, finance and administration costs. Now you're going to see from the slide that the hockey operations costs have remained relatively stable over the past 4 seasons, within a reasonable range. You're going to see from the finance and administration costs, they again, relatively stable, within a reasonable range. But you're going to notice the decline in revenues over the past 2 years. There's been a decline in season ticket holders, about 3 consecutive years. But most importantly, we lost a major sponsor due to circumstances that were completely unforeseen, don't involve the club or the sponsor, their desires, but it's beyond anyone's control. The shortfall this season that you'll see from the previous years has been covered by a reserve that was in place. It was there for a reason. Hugh hasn't taken profit out of the club. In fact, it was left there from last year's playoffs to ensure that we could cover any expenses coming up. There's no intention to reduce the budget moving forward. We need to focus on building our business. We need to focus on merchandising. We need to focus on season tickets. We need to focus on sponsorship agreements, and we need to focus on partners. But we have no intention to reduce the budget. The outlook moving forward. The plan to date was to fairly and objectively evaluate the entire organization, which we think we have done. As such, we met with every level of supporter, business leader, and leaders in the community, in addition to our staff. There are top-class investors here, they're passionate supporters, and they're excellent partners in this community. Next year is a very positive outlook on many fronts. We have a great relationship with UPC. UPC is taking over the content rights for the league. There'll be about a 3 times lift in our revenue from UPC because of that arrangement. They're very positive, and we have a great working relationship with them. We have new sponsors expressing interest, and we intend to provide increased value for our current sponsors. We have new partners that would like to add to our existing partnership group to support the club and additional projects that we intend to embark on. We are all aligned, and we have a plan. And sometimes that plan may not be obvious to everyone because they're always a work in progress and there's always room for adjustment. The rink project is progressing very well. Our investors are known to the state. We have specifically been asked not to disclose their names pursuant to non-disclosure agreements with the state. The due diligence process is ongoing, and we expect it to be finished shortly, at which time much more information will be forthcoming. It's a slow process. However, we're committed to working closely with the authorities toward a successful conclusion for everybody. The evaluation process of the staff, Chris, and the organization, again, was done objectively. It was to gain information. Every business that's a viable business goes through a review process of all of their staff. We evaluate results, we look at shortcomings, and we decide on a plan to build. That's exactly what we did. We looked at every level of the organization and are committed to making those improvements necessary. We have one objective: create a winning culture and bring a cup to Geneva. If we do that, we'll be financially successful, but most importantly, we'll be successful for the community. My assessment of the season personally, based on the interviews we did with the players, we found them to be an outstanding group of people. They all like one another. They get along tremendously. In fact, universally, among every guy that we spoke to, they said it was the best group of players they've ever played with. Doesn't matter if they were Swedish, Canadian, American, Swiss, these guys were a united group. And so for such a united group, we didn't get a result that we should have gotten. There were a lot of injuries this year, which I think hurt the club. There was undisciplined play at times, which hurt the club. But overall, we really believe in the potential of this group. And it's odd that you wouldn't have one bad apple in a bushel basket of this size. So, you know, there are some really good things here, and we think if we capitalize on them and create a great environment for them, that we'll have an opportunity for success. As far as me as an investor, as I mentioned earlier, I fully intend to invest. I like everything I see here. I love the commitment of the fans. I love the idea that we're moving forward on a new arena development and entertainment district. I like working with Chris. I really think there's an opportunity for a new coach to come in with some fresh ideas that can maybe extract some more value out of this great group of players. We're really well situated for next season. We have many players under contract, many players committed, and we believe in them, really believe in them. So that was the message that they left here with. They're excited. They all have plans for the summer. They're all working on skills. They're working on conditioning. They're going to be ready to go, and we're excited about it. Our plan for the upcoming season is obviously we need to focus on a new coach. That process will be a collaborative process where Chris will make a presentation to the board of directors about the candidates, and a decision will be made. He'll work with Lauren. He'll work with me if I can provide any value at all. But that's how we're going to proceed, both on the business front and on the hockey front. It'll be a process. You're going to have to get used to it being a process. Sometimes it takes a little longer than everyone likes, but it'll be a process that's done professionally, and it'll be done honorably. And at the end of the day, a decision will be made by all of us that's in the best interests of the club. We're going to bring as many resources as we can in the area of skills, fitness, hockey IQ, analytics. We're going to provide Chris and his staff, his coaching staff, with the most support we can possibly provide. Now, some of those things take some time to advance, but we've been a long way down this road in other situations, and we think we can bring some value in those areas and hopefully get the most out of all our players. It's great to have good players, but you also have to have an environment that allows you to win. There's lots of teams with great players that never win, but teams that have really good players and have a great winning culture and environment always have an opportunity to win. As far as our current challenges go, clearly the rink project has to move ahead for the vitality of Swiss hockey and Geneva hockey in particular. The team has to be strong for the rink project to move ahead. We have a lot of things to do over a relatively short period of time. It seems like 5 months is a long period of time, but in the business of sports, it's a relatively short period of time. And there's a lot of momentum now because we're all aligned, and we have to capitalize on that momentum. We need to pursue our continued work with the academy and build the academy out as best we can. That is the lifeblood of the A-team. If we have a constant push from below to get on the team with high-quality, well-coached players, it's the best possible scenario. So there's going to be a lot of focus, and now Chris has some more time to be involved in that focus. Going forward, we intend to build an advisory board. That advisory board will be made up of local people. We're lucky to have Francois on our main board, but we're also going to build advisors throughout the community at various levels and various professions to help us in the community, to help us move projects forward, and to make sure that the awareness of the club in the community is as strong as it can possibly be. We're not going to give any names for those roles today. It's an ongoing process, but the selection will be made over the next period of time. It's also based on people that have the time and willingness to get involved. By way of conclusion, today's decisions are the result of a very constructive attitude by everyone. They're in the best interests of the club. Both Chris and Hugh will continue to fully support the club, be there at all times, but in different capacities. Their continued support is essential. They both brought this club to where it is today. We will all work together to drive revenues and increase the budget. We will all work together to concretely improve every opportunity we can and get a new arena development built. I know Christophe is going to open things up for questions, so if you have any further questions for me, I'd be happy to take them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Hugh, for this overview introduction. On va passer à la partie questions-réponses. Comme nous sommes en direct sur les réseaux sociaux, on va vous demander de poser les questions directement en prenant le micro. On va faire ça dans l'ordre. Et donc, voilà, on est prêt à prendre votre question. Si elles sont en français, je les traduirai en anglais. Et comme ça, on pourra dialoguer dans les deux langues. Merci beaucoup. Alors, je ne sais pas qui veut poser la première question. On va attendre qu'Alexandre nous amène le micro.
Bonjour à tous, Frédéric Lovy, je travaille pour l'agence Sport Center à Lausanne. On assiste un peu à une révolution aujourd'hui, que ce soit sur le banc avec la disparition de Chris Max Orley au niveau du coaching, mais aussi une espèce de petite révolution au niveau transparence, puisque pour la première fois depuis très longtemps, on voit des chiffres apparaître sur un transparent, qui ne veulent pas encore dire grand-chose. J'ai deux questions. La première, c'est par rapport justement à cette volonté de transparence. Est-ce qu'elle sera cultivée, je dirais, dans le futur? Et la deuxième question, c'est aussi par rapport à la révolution de l'apparition de personnalités genevoises, je dirais, dans le conseil d'administration. Ça, c'est également une nouveauté. Et voilà, je voulais simplement que vous nous parliez de ces deux points.
I will just translate briefly the question. We have a revolution going on, first on the management, but also in terms of transparency, on opening the club to new personalities. So the question was whether this transparency was going to continue, and what it meant also to add new personalities in terms of moving forward.
Merci pour la question. Plutôt que parler de révolution, je préfère parler d'évolution. C'était ma volonté il y a 1 an en arrière quand je vous ai annoncé que Mike était invité au conseil avec Peter. Et c'était ma volonté de faire évoluer la gouvernance. Et aujourd'hui, on voit le résultat de ce travail qui est mûrement réfléchi, comme Mike l'a dit. Donc, encore une fois, ce n'est pas une révolution, c'est une évolution. On a bien écouté les supporters, on a bien écouté nos partenaires, nos fournisseurs, nos employés, les joueurs, la communauté genevoise et les collectivités. Et aujourd'hui, je pense que le club il est prêt pour faire ce prochain assaut sur le sommet, qui est gagner ce premier titre, comme nous avons déjà décrit plusieurs fois aujourd'hui. Donc, c'est tout à fait dans notre esprit de se rapprocher de la communauté, de gagner la confiance de nos supporters et de la communauté. Est-ce que ça répond à votre question?
Plus ou moins, oui. Par rapport à ces chiffres qui ont été présentés juste là, déjà peut-être le dernier montant des revenus, 15 millions et des poussières, enfin j'ai noté ça, c'est quand même très très loin des 11 millions qui étaient communément annoncés depuis plusieurs années de budget, quoi. Enfin, on est très très loin des chiffres qui étaient communément avancés par vous et les anciens dirigeants, où on parlait plutôt de 11 millions maximum. Enfin, comment expliquer tout d'un coup l'apparition de ces chiffres et ce grand écart?
Écoutez, les chiffres qui ont été évoqués par le passé, c'était les chiffres du plutôt budget sportif, pas le budget global. Donc c'est pour ça qu'il y a cette différence. Donc aujourd'hui, avec la présentation du chiffre d'affaires, on va communiquer aussi la répartition entre billetterie, partenariat, merchandising, restauration, partenariat de la Ligue avec la télé, donc et les autres divers petits revenus. Donc on va être encore plus ouvert très prochainement sur la constitution des revenus. Mais clairement, dans chaque club, il y a une définition un peu différente du budget sportif. Mais dans notre cas, c'est vraiment le budget de la première équipe, ça n'inclut pas l'académie. Et la différence dans le chiffre que vous évoquez, c'est parce qu'il y a une différence entre le chiffre d'affaires et le budget sportif.
Voilà une autre question.
Oui. Christian Maillard de la Tribune de Genève. J'aimerais savoir qu'est-ce qu'il en est de Louis Matt. Je n'ai pas entendu quel serait son avenir immédiat.
The question concerns the future of Louis Matt.
Louis is staying with the club. When we're not sure if he would like to apply for the head coaching role or not, but you know, as applications come in and we make a final evaluation, he's going to be part of the process, and there's no intention for Louis to leave the club.
D'autres questions? Sinon, on vous redonne la parole. Peut-être au fond.
Laurent Favre du journal Le Temps. Est-ce que vous avez déjà une idée du profil du coach que vous cherchez pour la saison prochaine?
Do we already have an idea of the profile of the coach we're looking for next season?
Do you want to answer this, Chris?
I can.
So you can both.
Well, certainly the profile we're looking for is just someone who's someone just is going to be really competitive and has aligned his values and his objectives with the same objectives that Mike, Lauren, myself, Hugh, that we all share. It's a difficult process to sit here today and identify that person, but that person's going to certainly must have a winning record and also have a winning personality and a winning character. What's important is that this person comes in and he's different than me. There's no sense hiring another Chris McSorley. This is not the requirement. We're not looking for traits that I have. We're looking for different traits and hopefully share some of the good traits I have, none of the bad ones. But we're looking for someone who's going to come in and help take us to the next step. We're not looking at a short term or a fill-in or a gap. We're looking for someone to come in and certainly be a coach that can be a long-tenured coach with our club. It's going to be a process that through Mike's contacts, Lauren's contacts, my contacts, we're going to certainly have lots of applicants. This is a world-class city. This is a fantastic organization that's got a fantastic reputation. And I'm sure this will be a very desirable position for any individual.
Mike.
Just to add to what Chris said, clearly the landscape with respect to all sports is changing. And, you know, communication skills, being able to communicate with millennials in a fashion that they can appreciate and learn from, being highly competitive, as Chris mentioned. There are a number of features that will go into the selection process, and clearly there won't be a candidate that will possess all of those ingredients. But, you know, it's critical from our perspective that the person be able to communicate. The elite teams coming up are going to provide us with players, and we have to have an environment that allows those guys to succeed. And in my perspective, because we are determined to make sure those players have an opportunity and play on the club, whoever's selected as the next coach has to be willing to work with players like that, communicate with them, and get the absolute best out of them, while also dealing with a competitive older group that are seasoned, really good players. The good thing we have is that we have a tremendous group of players from a character perspective. And, you know, any coach coming into this environment is going to be received professionally, properly by that group. And I think it's a unique opportunity to expand on their horizons as well. So a lot of things will go into the decision.
Une question encore. Devant.
Oui, peut-être dans une question aux deux parties, au nouveau manager général et aux dirigeants du club. Dans ce processus de décision d'un nouveau coach, mais aussi dans l'engagement des joueurs, est-ce que Chris Maxorley aura les coups des franches?
Chris as the manager, is going to control the player personnel on the club. That's the role of a general manager. He'll work closely with the coach to establish who those players are, whether they're players on the bubble that may benefit from playing in the B League, to players that are be new to the team, to existing players. The decision about the coach will be a collective decision. It'll be presented to the board. The candidates will be vetted properly. Interviews will be conducted properly. And at the end of the day, we'll make a collective decision with board approval as to who the next coach will be.
Dans le même ordre d'idées, sachant que entre 80 et 90% du groupe va rester, le nouvel entraîneur devra s'adapter à des joueurs qu'il n'aura pas forcément choisis. Ça signifie que ça sera quelqu'un qui ressemblera à Chris Maxorley?
The coach is going to inherit 80 or 90% of the players that are already here. He's going to inherit players, not be able to bring a lot of his players. So how's that going to impact?
In this league, in the LNA, coaches don't bring their players. The coaches around the league, they come in and they inherit a team, or they take on a team that the director sportif, general manager, assembles. Certainly, the coach's main role and objective is, before training camp even begins, to do a proper assessment in discussions with myself, Lauren Henning, Louis Matt, and Mike Gillis, to be able to assess the type of talent he has. Some teams might have an overload of talent, but maybe not a lot of team speed. Some teams might be fast, not talented. Some teams might be aggressive, and they might lack talent. And the coach is going to have to find his remedy, his formula, to try to find how these pieces fit together. I can assure you, I'll just reiterate one more time, I assure you that I will certainly give my opinion on players, but I'm going to be in a very much a support role for the coach, and the coach is going to have 100% of the decision-making on who he puts on the ice, system he plays, and how he wants his team to play. And it doesn't matter. I've been in the tough times before where you lose a series of games. But there's going to be no pressure from my side, management, that's going to have this coach in a position. And he's got to have unilateral support from all of us to be able to come in and put his essence, his stamp, his identity on this club.
D'autres questions? Alors, on revient devant.
Permettez-moi encore de vous poser une question, Monsieur Keinec. Depuis plusieurs mois maintenant, on nous remonte des informations des sponsors, des politiciens, la communauté. On nous remonte des informations qui montrent qu'il y a une certaine défiance vis-à-vis de votre personne. Comment vous prenez ça?
Écoutez, j'écoute. Encore une fois, on est dans une période d'évolution et je pense que je suis très sensible à ce que nos partenaires, nos supporters, nos employés, les collectivités, toutes les personnes qui sont concernées avec le club disent. C'est clair qu'on est dans une période tourmentée avec les changements que j'ai apportés au club l'année dernière et qui continuent à progresser. Il y a beaucoup de questions, beaucoup d'interrogations et ça fait partie du territoire. Mais je suis très à l'aise avec mes intentions. J'adore Genève. comme Chris, comme Mike maintenant l'adore, comme François Bélanger et tous les joueurs qui sont maintenant ici. Et vraiment, ma motivation, dès le premier jour que je suis rentré au Genève-Servette, c'est vraiment de faire quelque chose de spécial. Je dis que j'ai grandi à Montréal, j'ai vécu ce que le Canadien de Montréal représentait pour la communauté. Et on veut amener de la fierté, du dynamisme, un titre surtout. Et pour moi, ce club, c'est un véhicule social aussi. Et si François Bélanger a rejoint le conseil d'administration aujourd'hui, tant que je ne vois, c'est parce qu'il partage aussi ses valeurs. Et encore une fois, je respecte et comprends les frustrations des supporters et l'incompréhension. Maintenant, nous travaillons sur la communication, nous travaillons sur la transparence et j'espère qu'on va pouvoir retourner dans un climat de calme et de sérénité et de confiance pour qu'on puisse continuer à construire ce club.
On arrive au bout des questions. Est-ce qu'il y a encore d'autres questions? On a le temps. Pas d'autres questions? Non? You want to say a word of conclusion? I think there is no more questions. If not,
No.
everything was clear. Mike?
Yeah, just one conclusion. From a club perspective, I think it's critical that we make every effort to be transparent. In doing so, our expectation of you guys is that you're going to make every effort to find out the proper facts and ask the proper questions. If we're going to make this commitment, we would like a commitment in return. And I think it's only reasonable to ask that. We are going to continue to communicate our plan. We're going to continue to keep you updated. We're going to continue to build out our communication services so that our fans, sponsors, anybody interested in the club will have a place to go to find information. That's our commitment. I'd like a commitment in return that if you have questions, please ask them. Don't speculate, don't make it up, just ask the question, and we'd be happy to answer it as absolutely best we can. We don't have an agenda. We're honest people, so please, just ask the question if you have one. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Je ne sais pas, Christophe, si tu veux traduire, mais je pense que le message, pour traduire, c'est qu'on respecte le fait que vous avez un travail à faire aussi. Vous faites partie du club aussi. Et Mike demande que, en retour pour notre transparence, notre ouverture, notre disponibilité, on veut vraiment travailler avec vous, que vous n'hésitiez pas, plutôt que de spéculer, de poser des questions et de solliciter nos réponses. Je ne sais pas, Christophe, si tu veux en ajouter à ça. Mais on se réjouit encore une fois, cette prochaine évolution et je pense que la relation avec les journalistes, c'est aussi un élément fondamental. C'est un pilier de tout club, tout club sportif au monde et on se réjouit on est heureux de voir que vous êtes nombreux aujourd'hui et on veut vraiment être à votre disposition.
Merci Hugues. Thank you Chris. Thank you Mike. Je crois que c'était une conférence de presse qui marquait aussi une nouvelle étape dans le développement du club et je crois qu'on vous remercie d'avoir été avec nous aujourd'hui, ici sur place ou également sur les réseaux sociaux et on reste à votre disposition pour d'autres questions. Et on vous remercie et on se retrouve peut-être tout à l'heure juste à côté pour un petit verre de l'amitié. Merci beaucoup, au revoir.
Good luck.